Learn English through stories with shadowing and conversation. It is evening. Large flakes of wet snow are falling softly in the dark streets. Iona Potapov, the sledge driver, is sitting on his seat. He is bent forward and completely still. He is covered in white snow and looks like a ghost. His little horse is also white and standing completely still. Suddenly, Iona hears a voice.
Cab! To Viborg Way!
It is a military officer in a large grey coat. Iona pulls the reins and the little horse starts to move through the snowy streets. The traffic is heavy and the officer gets angry.
Where are you going? Keep to the right!
He shouts. Iona turns his head and looks at the officer. His lips are moving, but he cannot speak properly.
What is it?
My son, sir. My son died this week.
Oh, what did he die of?
It was a fever. He was in the hospital for 3 days, and then he died. It was God's will.
Before Iona can finish his story, a carriage nearly hits them. The officer shouts at Iona to watch the road. For the rest of the journey, the officer closes his eyes and does not want to listen anymore. When they arrive, the officer pays and leaves. Iona is alone again in the cold snow. An hour passes. Then, 3 young men walk towards the sledge. 2 of them are tall and 1 is short. They are loud and behaving badly.
Take us to the police bridge!
They shout. They offer very little money, but Iona does not care about the money. He just wants someone to talk to. The young men get into the sledge. They argue and swear at each other. The short one stands at the back and breathes down Iona's neck.
My son, he died this week.
We must all die. Now drive faster. We will never get there at this speed.
Are you married, driver?
Me? No. My only wife is the Dark Earth now.
My son is dead, but I am still alive. It is strange that death took the wrong door. It came for my son, not for me.
He turns around to tell them more about his son, but the short man says,
Finally, we are here.
The 3 young men get out and disappear into the dark night. Once again, Iona is alone. The misery returns and feels heavier than before. His heart is full of pain. If his heart broke and his misery poured out, it would flood the whole world, but no one sees it. He looks at the crowds of people walking in the street. Is there no one who will listen to me? He thinks. But everyone is rushing. Nobody cares about an old driver's grief. Finally, Iona decides he cannot stay in the street anymore. I must go back to the stables, he tells himself. Back in the warm stables, it is dark and quiet. Iona goes to look at his little horse. She is eating her hay.
Are you eating? I am old now. I am too old to drive. My son should be driving, not me. He was a real driver. He was a good boy. Listen to me, little girl. Imagine you had a little baby horse, and imagine that baby horse suddenly died. It would be very sad, wouldn't it?
The little horse chews her hay, listens, and breathes warmly on her master's hand. Iona's heart finally feels a little lighter. He stands there in the quiet stable and tells his horse the whole story. Now let's do some shadowing together. Listen carefully and repeat each sentence naturally with me. It was a fever. He was in the hospital for 3 days and then he died. It was a fever. He was in the hospital for 3 days and then he died. Before Iona can finish his story, a carriage nearly hits them. Before Iona can finish his story, a carriage nearly hits them. They offer very little money, but Iona does not care about the money. They offer very little money, but Iona does not care about the money. Nobody cares about an old driver's grief. Nobody cares about an old driver's grief. I am old now. I am too old to drive. My son should be driving, not me. I am old now. I am too old to drive. My son should be driving, not me. And now, let's join Olivia and Harry as they talk about today's story, emotions, and a few useful English expressions together.
Wow, that ending gets me every single time. Honestly, Margaret's narration was beautiful, but my God, it's heartbreaking.
Absolutely devastating, Olivia. An old man, completely crushed by losing his son, and the only living soul willing to listen to him is his little horse.
It's tragic. And hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, Harry and I are chatting about Anton Chekhov's famous masterpiece, Misery, which Margaret just read for us. We'll look at why it's so famous and learn 3 essential vocabulary words.
Let's start with the words, shall we? The first one is sledge or cab. Now, when we say cab today, we think of a black London taxi. But in 19th century Russia, a cab or sledge was a carriage on runners, pulled by horses over snow.
Exactly. And to control those horses, you need the second word, reins. R-E-I-N-S. These are the long leather straps the driver holds. In everyday English, we often say to take the reins when we want to take control of a project or situation.
I usually let you take the reins of this podcast, to be fair.
Because you know I do it best, darling. Now, the next 2 words are the emotional core of the story, misery and grief.
Yes, misery is that deep, dark unhappiness. Grief, G-R-I-E-F, is the intense, painful sorrow you feel, specifically when someone dies. Iona is carrying this massive weight of grief, but the busy city around him simply doesn't care.
Which brings us to the author, Anton Chekhov. Did you know he was actually a doctor? He famously said, "Medicine is my lawful wife, and literature is my mistress."
Scandalous! But it explains why he wrote human suffering so well. This story was published in 1886, but it's still incredibly famous today because it tackles something universal, modern loneliness.
Spot on. Iona is surrounded by people, the angry officer, the 3 rude young men, yet he is completely isolated. Chekhov shows us that you can be in a crowded city and still feel like the loneliest person on earth.
That's why that final scene is so beautiful. The horse doesn't understand his words, but she listens and breathes warmly on his hand. Sometimes we just need to be heard.
It really makes you think. Well, that's all from us today. A huge thanks to Margaret for reading.
Cheers, Margaret, and thank you all for listening. Take care of each other, and we'll see you next week.
Bye!